All right. So we're supposed to simplify that one. We're supposed to simplify that one. Sorry, I just now turned on the recording. I forgot to record those first two. So, but good, you're here. You caught that all. So, all right. So let's do that now. So basically, factor the top, factor the bottom. It's like two factoring problems. All of these are going to be like two factoring problems. So factor the top, because we can't cancel anything right now, can I? I can't come in and cancel those x's, for example. That'd be totally wrong, because the top is a glued package. I buy that whole package, or I don't touch that 2x minus 8. Right? All or nothing. So I don't do any of that right now. I just begin with factor. So how do you factor the top? 2. Take out the 2. X minus 4. How do you factor the bottom? 5. Okay, can anything cancel? So we're done. That's just as good as it gets. Nothing can cancel. That good? Is that making sense? Kind of a weird one there. Not much really happened. Say it that way. All right. So here's what they want you to say. I'm not going to give you something like this on the test. This is a little hokey, I think. Because nothing, but it is in the homework. Because nothing canceled, right? Nothing canceled out. Nothing. I never canceled anything. The answer is actually no simplification. So rather than say this, they want you to answer no simplification. There's actually a bullet where you choose, right? There's like a bullet, you fill it in, no simplification. So most math books don't say it that way, but they're right. Technically, it didn't simplify. Nothing canceled. All right. Is simplify, which means factor the top, factor the bottom, huh? Because we can't cancel right now. We've got to like plus minus blue stuff. So factor the top, factor the bottom. All these are two factoring problems. It'll hone your factoring skills. Bless you. So how do you factor that top? 6. Take out what's in common. Yeah, 6, right? And there's x minus 9 on the bottom. Take out x. Okay. Now, can anything cancel? Can I cross these out? Totally. I'm buying the whole package. That's fine. Costco will sell you the whole package. That's the business they're in. Right? It's okay. As long as you buy the whole glued package, that's fine. So the answer is just 6 over x. Does that make sense? So you can cancel out a plus or minus item as long as you buy the whole package. And I did. I didn't just take part of it. I did the whole glued package. Making sense on all those rules? You learned infraction rules you never knew before? Never knew Costco had anything to do with this, huh? That's just my little made-up thing. All right. Simplify. All these problems are just going to say simplify, which means factor top, factor bottom. Well, nothing you can do with the bottom. Factor the top. So factor the top, and you're hoping an x minus 1 will pop out, so you can cancel something. That's what you're hoping. So factor that top. How do we factor that top? That's a slide and divide, isn't it? Then we've got 3 terms with a number in the front. That's always the slide and divide, right? So slide that 2 to the back, 2 times 5, 10. And then do the diamond thing. So you got to do that whole slide and divide factoring on that top. If you're having trouble with this, there is a tutoring center available, right? They're over in the library, I guess. Is that right? Somebody was telling me that in my other class. So they're there to help, and you go over my YouTube again and again. I know math can be painful. I had to give it my life. I had to do it day and night, practice, 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 practice. So you can do this stuff with enough practice. All right, slide and divide. 2 goes to the back. So I'm going to do slide and divide. Slide and divide. So it's going to be x squared plus 3x minus 10. Then we do the diamond thing. Right, I'm going to whip through this one because I think you're all pretty good at this now. Multiply to be negative 10. The middle is the add. So what times what? Multiplies to be 10. You can make 3 by adding. 5 and 2. Now, how do the signs go? Bottom bigger, right, BB? The bottom is plus. The bigger is plus. Plus 5 minus 2. That makes plus 3 in the bottom. Multiplies to be negative 10. So 5 and negative 2. So this becomes x plus 5, x minus 2. But that's all the slide. Now we got to do the divide. What do you divide by? The number you slid in the beginning, the 2. Right? Divide both those by 2. See how that works? Everybody getting the hang of the slide and divide? I know it's a little bit of a backdoor trick method, but it is convenient. So everybody see that? Slide the 2 to the back. You multiply it to the back. It makes 10. Right? 5 times 2 is what made that 10. Is that making sense? You slide it to the back and multiply it. And then at the end, you divide it back out. And this becomes x minus 1, right? And then you reduce that to 1. This 5 over 2 doesn't reduce, so this 2 will slide back, won't it? When they don't reduce, or after reduction, they slide back. Right? Getting the hang of that, slide and divide? Is that good? Questions I can answer on that? And there's our x minus 1 that we were hoping for. Now I'll bring the denominator back in. There's the x minus 1 we were hoping for, and cancel. Perfect. So what's left? 2x plus 5. We're done. Is that good? So if you're a good factorer, this section's easy, huh? It's just factoring. That's how math always is. You want to master each step because the next step will use it. We're learning a language. It's like Chinese, right? Each step will lead to the next. Math is a language, like a hard language like Chinese. Probably not nearly as hard as Chinese. But, you got to learn every step. It always leads to the next step. So if you fall behind or miss class, you want to get the YouTubes, get the tutoring center, get the help, because it won't go away. Right? It's not like some classes where it's something totally new the next week. It's not. It's never going away. It's just building and building and building. So get the help you need. Is that good? Is that making sense? Get that factoring down, especially that factoring. That we use that for everything. Okay. So how do we do that? What do we do? Well, that numerator, that x is out of order. You always want to put them in order, huh? So, is that true? Yeah, it is true. Let's do that. So, let me help you with that. So when x at the back, how about always reorder? Let's just make it simple. Reorder highest power to lowest. Okay, now when you move them around, they're going to take their signs with them. You with me? When you move them around, I have an analogy for everything, but it's like it's your baby or something, right? That negative in the front, that negative right in the front of that x squared, that's his baby. That's not just like sitting in the middle. That's going to go with the x squared wherever he may go, right? So when I reorder it, that minus is going with the x squared. Well, what's in front of the 9? What's his baby? Nothing, which means plus. Is that good? That's legal reordering. That's the same thing. You can move them around however you want, as long as you take their sign with them. Take it with them. Is that good? Take your baby with you. I remember, I said I had 5 kids. We had our 5th, Abigail, 11 years ago, 11 and a half years ago. And we got home from the hospital. We were picking up my wife coming home from the hospital. We always had a routine where we would stop and have lunch, where we came home to all the wild children. And we were bringing Abigail and my wife home from the hospital. And we stopped for lunch. Stupid me. I just jump out of the car. And my wife gets out of the car. And I start heading into the restaurant. And my wife looks at me with a little smile on her face. Do you think we should bring Abby? Or? So you take your baby with you. Right? So those minus signs that are in the front, you take them with you wherever that you may go. All right. So now we don't want a negative in the front, right? This one's got like some weird issues. So negative in front, what? Factor out -1, all signs switch. Do you wear that? You don't want to have a negative on the front term. It's just, there's not an official rule against it, but it's just hard to deal with. So it'll be easier for you to factor it out. So whenever you have a negative in the front, instead do -1. keep the bottom the same here. Do negative 1 out, and the inside will change. What does the inside become? X squared minus, right? If you multiply that, it'd be minus x squared, and multiply that minus 1 times minus 9, it'd be plus 9, wouldn't it? See how that's right? So are we all okay? We just have one more, well, 2 more steps now. But are we good to, we're going to do that kind of maneuver a lot. 2 things we just did. You want to get comfortable, it's going to happen a lot. You always want to put the biggest term in the front. So I reordered them, but you take their baby, we take whatever sign's in front with them when you move them around. You can always move things around as long as you take the sign in the front with them. That's their baby. It's not just sitting in the middle. Okay, and then if you have a minus in the front, you got to factor out a negative 1. Why? Because it's just way more convenient. Okay, now, what can I do with x squared minus 9? Now it's factor time. Now it's got the look we want to make factoring easy. How do we factor x squared minus 9? Yeah, that's a double-double, right? That's xx, 3, 3. It's got the minus. If that was plus, I would stop, wouldn't I? But it's got a minus. You can do double-double minus, right? Minus 1 still sits in the front. X minus 3 is still sitting on the bottom. None of that's going anywhere. And then we go x minus 3, x plus 3. Either order, doesn't matter. Did you see that? That's how we do double-double, as we've done earlier tonight and last week. And then these guys cancel, don't they? Did you see that? What are we left with? Minus 1 times x plus 3. Distribute it. Minus x minus 3. You could probably leave it. Both those are fine. I think probably they would want you to redistribute it. Mathematics might take either one. I don't know. Test in 2 weeks, multiple choice. Either one, grab it. They're both good. Is that good? See how we did all that? Did you track with those steps? You always, first step, you want the highest power in the front. And then you want 2 things. You want highest powers in front, and you don't want negatives. So you put the highest power in the front, and then you say, oh no, not a negative. Factor out the negative 1. That changes all the signs on the inside. And you factor and cancel. Okay. Okay, so on number 11 is kind of a different sort of question. There's the answer. It's already, A. They're saying, what are some 4 expressions that are equivalent? Like other ways to write the same thing. They're just making sure you're really comfortable with the minus sign that's in the front here, and you know the different things you can do with a minus sign in front of a fraction. Let me help you with that. Let me just start with simple numbers. If you have a negative, like on a half or something, to start real simple. Do you know that's the same thing as putting the minus in the top, or putting the minus, it's this, or it's that. Those are all different ways to say the same thing. You can't put it on both, though. That would not be the same. A minus in the front middle is not the same as going on both. One or the other, yes, but not both. Why not? Why not both? Yeah, 2 negatives, that'd be positive, wouldn't it? That's certainly not the same as the original negative. You all seeing that? So one more time. A negative in the front middle can be put in the top only or the bottom only, but not both. It's all the same. All those versions are the same. Front, top, bottom, whatever, it's all the same. Whatever you need to do at the moment. Okay, now, let's expand that. Got it, Mr. Heron. Front, top, bottom, all the same. Okay, yeah, but what if you have x plus 1 and 3x minus 2? Now what if there's more complexity to the numerator and the denominator? How's that work? Well, let's take it to the, I just said minus in the front, you can take it to the top. True. So when I take it to the top in this situation, what would it do? Both of them, right? Not just the front guy. So that would be the same. Or I could also take it to the bottom. What would it do? What would it look like taken to the bottom? If we took to the bottom, it would also hit them both and be minus 3x plus 2, and then the top would stay the same. So you see what I did that? I changed the top. Here I changed the denom. Or leave it in the front. Do you see how those are all the same? So minus in the front can go to the top and change all the top, or it can go to the bottom and change all the bottom. Or you can just leave it in the front. Those are all the same. So we take a multiple choice test in 2 weeks. If they have this, if you got this answer and you look and option C is this, grab it. That's the same answer. That's part of what you need to know. Is one another answer is the same but just looks different. And of course, when it's truly different, you don't want to grab it. That's part of learning a language, huh? Is learning when somebody's saying the same thing in other words. So is that making sense about the algebra language? So a minus in the front can just stay there if you want. Or you can take it to the top and change all the signs on the top, leaving the bottom unchanged. Or you can take it to the bottom only, change all the signs on the bottom, leave the top unchanged. Leave the top as it originally was. But not both, right? You don't take the minus to the top and the bottom. That would be double negative positive. We good there? Now, some of the ways they'll take it to the top is they'll put it up there and they'll just leave it in the front. That's the same thing, isn't it? See how that minus 1 is the same thing? They're just leaving it sit there. They can do that. Or the one on the bottom, they could have left the minus sit there without distributing it. It's still on the bottom. That's okay too. All right, that's what we're going to see. So here on A, where are they going to take that minus? Here it is, they took it on the top. They just let it sit there. Here it is, they distributed it through the top. Boom, boom. See that? Here it is, they took it to the bottom only. Here it is, they distributed it to the bottom only. Those are all the same. Everybody see that? That's what they're testing there. All right. We'll keep moving. Simplify. So give it a try. See if that's the case. Take that fraction. What's the first thing you need to do in the numerator up there? Reorder it, right? You want highest power to lowest. So put that minus x squared in the front. Take this baby with him. That minus is his. Right? Put that in the front. So that minus x squared goes to the front. Good so far. And then what do you do? What do you do when you got a minus in front of something and you're about to factor? Take out the minus 1 first. Remember that a minute ago? We never leave. Don't try to do double-double right now. First take out the minus 1. Did you catch that when I did that a minute ago? So you reorder. So first step is reorder. And then factor out the negative 1. You can do double-double and stuff like that after that. But first do this. It changes the sign. Everybody good to there? You all seeing that? See how that, if I was to distribute that minus 1 and go back to the same thing, it'd be negative x squared. It'd be plus 36, wouldn't it? So we never leave a negative on the front term of something we're trying to factor. Everybody see that? We never leave a negative on the front term of something. It just causes trouble. So instead, you take out a negative 1. So we reorder, take out the negative 1, and now you know what to do with that x squared minus 36, right? Now you do the double-double. So leave the minus 1 there. It's x plus 6, x minus 6, over x, either order, doesn't matter. Am I losing you? Is this making sense? See how I did the double-double? Let me talk you through it again. So again, first step, we reorder. We always have the highest powers first. And we never have a negative in the front. So those are the two things you want to be crystal clear on. We always have the highest powers in the front, and we never want to leave a negative on the front. So if you've got a negative on the front, take out a negative 1, put as a GCF, put one big parenthesis, change all the signs. That gets the negative off the front guy, doesn't it? Separates it out. We never want a negative sitting on the front guy. We want to separate it out. And then x squared minus, the minus 1's still sitting here. And then x squared minus 36, that's the double-double. And now we can cancel. So now we cancel these guys. So what are we left with? Negative 1, x plus 6. If you distribute that, what do you got? Negative x minus 6. Is that the same as this? Absolutely. Order doesn't matter. You could reorder it. Same thing. This is minus x minus 6. When you reorder them, they both have a negative in front of them. So yes, the answer is yes, that is the same. That good? Getting the hang of that? That whole switch the order, factor out the negative 1. It's going to happen a lot. Did that right? Yeah. Okay. So try that one. Basically, they're asking you to simplify it, and they have an answer. They want to ask you to fix that answer. So just go ahead, simplify that one. So what are you going to do first on the top? It's two factoring problems, right? These are all been factored here. Okay. So to factor that numerator, what must be done first? Reorder, huh? It's out of order. You got to go highest power to lowest, don't you? When you move them around, take their babies with them. Whatever sign's in the front, that's going with them wherever they may go. So that minus is going with that 4x squared. Put it in the front. So that minus is going in the front. Is that good so far? And what else? Never leave a negative in the front. Take out a negative 1 GCF, one big parenthesis, change all the signs. Same thing we've done this third time now. Getting the hang of this? We always reorder, biggest one in the front, never a negative in the front. If there's a negative, do a GCF, negative 1 in the front, one big parenthesis, change all the signs. Get that negative 1 off the front. It's just too difficult having that thing in the front. So this will be negative 1. All the signs will change. See how they all change? That's right, isn't it? If you were to take that minus 1 and multiply, it would go back, wouldn't it? Now, factor this part that's left. How are we going to factor? Just leave the minus 1 here. How are you going to factor this part that remains?
Slide and divide.
Slide and divide. You got a number. You got 3 terms with a number in the front. Grab that 4, slide it to the back. Make that a 20. Multiply it to the back. Make that a minus 20. Do the diamond. Find the 2 numbers. Bunch of factoring. You need to factor the bottom as well. That was easier though, huh? So I'm going to grab that 4, put it to the back. So that's going to be, I'm just going to kind of take this one all by itself up here. So it's x squared plus 19x minus 20. And you do the diamond. You say, okay, what multiplies, adds? Remember how this works? So what multiplies to be minus 20, adds, what times what is 20 and can make 19 by adding? 1 and 20, huh? Those multiply to be 20. How do we get them to add to be 9? Sign on the bottom goes on the bigger, BB, bottom bigger. So the bigger is the 20. So plus 20 minus 1, that's 19. They multiply to be negative 20, don't they? So there's my numbers, x minus 1, x plus 20, but that's the slide. Now you got to divide. So go back and divide by, what was in the front? 4, just the regular 4. 4. And this one will slide back, 4x minus 1. This one will reduce to be 5, huh? We good? Yeah.
Where'd the negative 1 go?
Oh, yeah. Everything else is still there. Yeah, you're right. So I was just doing the rest of the stuff, but you're totally right. Good point. The minus 1 is still there. And how about the bottom? How does the bottom factor? Now I can do the bottom. What do you do with 16x squared minus 1? Got so focused on the top part. Yeah, don't forget that minus 1. Good point. That's really important. How do you factor that bottom? What do we do with two terms? What do we ever do with 2 terms? We're not going to do diamond. That's only 3 terms. What do you ever do with two terms? Double, double, or triple, triple? What's this one?
4x.
Double, double. Right, yeah, 4x. 4x. 1 times 1. 1. 1's a double. 1 times 1. 1's a triple. 1's in anything. 1 times 1 times 1 is always 1, huh? So then that one is 4x minus 1. 4x plus 1, isn't it? Right? And now, after all that work, we can cancel those two, can't we? All that factoring was to cancel those two out. So that and that cancel. What are we left with? I'm going to go to a fresh screen. You got that copied down? So minus 1 on the top, along with x plus 5 over 4x plus 1. Is that, I'll let you copy that down a little bit more. Are you getting all that down? So most of the work was factoring that top of the slide and divide. So put the minus 1 back and then cancel these guys. So, what are we left with? Well, this is a fine answer right here. Or we could distribute the negative on the top, minus x minus. It doesn't really matter. We're pretty much done. Either one of those is good. What do they even want from me? I don't even remember now. They said, oh, is this the answer? X plus 5 over minus 4x minus 1. They're so tricky. Okay, yeah. Watch what they're doing. X plus 5 over minus 4. Is this the answer? Is that, wait, is that right? Minus x plus 5 over minus 4x minus 1.
Oh, yeah. It's either way because you could put
Oops.
it on top.
This was supposed to be plus, wasn't it? I messed that up. Anyway, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're being tricky. That minus 1, instead of going through the top, I could have taken it. Remember, a minus 1 anywhere in a fraction can go through the top or the bottom. They're being pretty tricky. Yeah, you could take it through the bottom, and then this would become both negative. And that is another version of the same answer, isn't it? Do you see that? So that's the trick. This minus 1 up here could be brought down to the bottom and distribute through the bottom instead of the top. Both are allowed. Both are true. That makes sense? So yeah, that's another version of the truth. You getting all these fraction rules down? Negatives and factoring?